Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hi.
Hi. I'm not sure how many people I'll get to see. Let me see. Let me turn on my grid here. Okay. I wasn't sure if anybody had made it to the party. So good evening. My name's Eddie Velasquez. I'm the school operations manager at Animo Jackie Robinson Charter High School. So really today's presentation, we're gonna go over essentially what you'll need to go through the enrollment process at our school, since it's a very different process right now. So for the most part, we are encouraging the enrollment process to all be online. We're going to minimize the amount of access that families will have to our campus. So we're going to do everything possible to make sure that you have a successful enrollment for this upcoming school year. So in order to respect your time, I want to make sure that we get started with the presentation. It takes about 20 minutes or so to go through the enrollment process. So I want to make sure that we also have time for any questions that you might have. And also know that available on the link tree, the same link that you used to access today's meeting, you'll also find a pre-recorded tutorial if you wanted to go back and access any of this information. And we are also recording this presentation so that we can make it available to you later should you have to go back to it later tonight or in the future. Um, so I'm looking over this way so that I can look at my slides. But at some point we will go ahead and jump over into the presentation. I'm sorry, the actual enrollment process. And I'm gonna fill in an application that I preset so that you can also see what that process will look like. The only difference is that you won't see me upload any of the documents or actually submit the application because eventually that'll be something that you'll have to do and that we'll be verifying on our end and following up with you anyway. Um, so, so that you know, this is just some important information that will be available to you. We'll be sending it to you also in an email or physically in the mail. But you will have somebody from the operations team assigned to you who will assist you with the enrollment process. But we're hoping that doing things online is the best way for you to complete the process. The process is fairly simple, so it will be new to people if you're not familiar with technology. So that's why you will have someone assigned to your student who will assist you with the enrollment process. So if your last name starts with an A and it goes through Garcia, any student Garcia, the person you'll be in contact with is Jasmine Briones. She's our parent coordinator. She's running the Spanish presentation at the same time right now. Or if your last name Garrett through Moore, your assigned person is Jamila McClendon, and that's her email address that you can use to contact her. Or if you're Morales through the last name, Z, any last name with a Z, your contact is Jessica Lopez. Or you can always just contact us directly through our office phone, and then they'll be able to connect with you that way too. So some of the documents that are required, if you brought them with you tonight, it'll be a fairly easy process as we go along. But we're going to go ahead and verify them on our end anyway. But if you brought them with you, or if you didn't, these are the documentation that you'll need. So the birth certificate, the student's birth certificate, parent or guardian ID, any documents that are verifying court order guardianship. If that's applicable to you, you'll go ahead and turn that in. You'll need the student's immunization record, which must indicate the completion of the Tdap. So that's the vaccine for whooping cough and the varicella vaccine. If your student receives special education services, you'll also need to have that submitted. And that's an IEP. If you're more familiar with the documentation by that name, or if your student has a 504 plan, that's specific to students who have mostly health conditions, and you need accommodations based on the student's health conditions. Otherwise, our staff are available to answer any additional questions you might have, but for the most part, you will have these people assigned to you and we can assist you through the enrollment process. We are setting a deadline of February 26th to have all applications submitted. So you have about 2 months to complete the entire process. And in the meantime, our assigned staff will be also reaching out to you. So do expect a phone call from them at some point as they move through their list. They'll eventually get a hold of you, but feel free to reach out to us ahead of time if you have any questions. And we are asking for all applications to be submitted by February 26th at 4 p.m. So by the end of our workday that day. And if you don't submit an application, this is your student will not be able to be verified on time. We're still not entirely sure what our actual deadlines will be within the organization. But as a school, we want to make sure that all of our students are fully enrolled and that you as a parent are guaranteed that your student will be fully enrolled at our school. We are going to hold a 9th grade orientation for now. It is going to be a virtual event. And it's scheduled for Thursday, May 27th. So we have at least 2 months to prepare for the orientation between finalizing all of the enrollment with your students and your families. And then we are requiring all students, incoming students, to be a part of our Summer Bridge program. So it is a 2-week program that's going to run from June 24th through July 9th. And for now, again, we're planning for it to be a virtual event until we're given further notice. But for now, just plan for it to be a virtual event that your students will be participating in, at least a 2 or 3 hour span between each day. We'll see. We'll see what the Summer Bridge will look like this year. And again, if you do need to access any of this information, this presentation and this video will be available back at our link tree here. So you'll be able to reference that again for future use. Okay, so we went ahead and went through all this information here. But if you do need to access the website directly, this is the enrollment website you'll use. It's green.publicschools.schoolmint.net. Otherwise, if you, again, go back to the link tree, that'll already be there. You can just access it through there. And this is just a reminder of the documentation that you'll need to submit to complete and verify the enrollment. So if you didn't get this email, you can always give us a call or this text message linking you directly to this website. Give us a call or reach out to the person who's in charge of your students' enrollment, and they'll be able to get you the access that you'll need to get onto the website. So if you don't have access to the website right now, you can go ahead and just watch the presentation. And when you get through it, it'll probably make a little bit more sense to you. Let me go ahead and shut the door so it's not so loud with the noise outside. Give me 1 moment. Okay, is that better? I hope it is, because let's see. Okay, thanks for the heads up, Adrian. I appreciate that. Yeah, Blanca, feel free to leave if you need to. Feel free to come back to this presentation later. So if you do need to go, I definitely understand. So I'm gonna go ahead and get through the process, but what you should have received in an email or in a text message should have been the link to this website. So when you click on it, you'll want to enter the username that was provided to you. If you don't know what it is, you can go ahead and just enter, you can get in contact with us, or we'll get in contact with you either way, so that you get access to that. Okay. So my student was accepted. I already went through the process and I accepted my student. And my student's name is Jasmine Briones. We went ahead and I used the name of our parent coordinator. She's in the 8th grade, coming into the 9th grade. If you haven't accepted the student by this point, you want to go ahead and do that. There should be a green button that says accept. You'll get a verification, an email and a text message that the student has been accepted. Then you'll be able to continue to the registration. When you continue to the registration, you're going to see all the tabs that you're going to have to access in order to finalize the registration. So we see the exact same thing. Anything that you fill out, we're going to be able to see as well. Any documentation that's missing, we'll be able to see that it also has not been uploaded. So the first thing that we see here is the student's first name, their middle name, and their last name. If you need to change the last name or the first name, you can go ahead and get a hold of us. You're able to do it also if you return back to the previous screen, or we can help you with updating that. The information, you want to make sure you're pulling it directly from the student's birth certificate, because that'll be what goes on every single one of the documentations that go home. So that includes report cards and what will be on their diploma.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm looking at the screen and I see only, it doesn't say accept, it's just on the green dot, but then on the bottom it says withdraw in red. So what should I do? Because there's no button where I could click on where it says accept.
We can go ahead and look at your individual case in a bit. If you want someone saying, go ahead and refresh your page.
Okay. Okay, there it is.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill in information based on, again, none of this information is real. So I know my student, I'm going to go ahead and fill in her gender. If the student has a different gender that's different from what's on their birth certificate, you'll go ahead and fill that in there. I'm verifying that my student's current grade is in the 8th grade and they are entering into the 9th grade. My address, I'm verifying that my address is correct. Everything seems to look good there. That looks pretty good there. The state, the zip code, my home phone, that's missing. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that. If you have a student cell phone, go ahead and enter that as well. Otherwise, you can go ahead and just leave that blank. For the purposes of this presentation, we are selecting that the student lives both with mother and father. And then these are a lot of the information that you filled out when you first submitted the lottery form is transferring over into the enrollment packet. So there's a lot of information that you don't have to enter. Otherwise, it's asking if there's a legal custody agreement for the student. If there is, you're going to have to submit what that documentation is. So if it's something, a legal document or some type of court order, you'll need to upload that there. Otherwise, you just select no. Is a student under foster care or on probation? If they are, you'll go ahead and select yes or no. And you'll want to submit your living situation. So is the student or is the family living with a friend or a relative due to financial problems or similar reasons, whether they be evictions, fires, loss of a job, divorce, domestic violence, perhaps they were kicked out of the home or there was a runaway, or the situation is living in a motel hotel. shelter or transitional program, or perhaps unsheltered at the moment, or is it a permanent residence? So the question is, what is legal custody? That's court ordered. So if there is an agreement between you and the parent and the court, that's what we're referring to legal custody. There's different types of situations. So if there's something that you do want to go ahead and specify, we can talk about that offline. And you can fill it out with us if you want to. If it's depending on what's easier for you. If you want to just pay attention now and go back to it, or fill it out as you go along. I know that for many people, it's easier to kind of just do it on your own. So if you feel like that's something you want to do, you can go ahead and just watch it in the meantime. Okay. So I'm also filling out whether or not the student is Hispanic, and then what the student's ethnicity is. So you can go ahead and check all that apply. For my student, I'm going to go ahead and select that she is American and white. For the purposes of, for the demographics of the school, the way that it's reported is that Hispanic or Latino students are considered white when reporting it. Okay. So I'm now entering my name as the guardian, verifying that my information is all correct, my email. Because the situation, we want to make sure we are maximizing as many ways that we can get a hold of you. So enter as much information as what's relevant to you. And now it's asking me whether or not this particular guardian is in active duty or in the armed forces. So the parent is not. And is there another parent or guardian who lives with the student? So if there's a mom, dad, or another guardian, you go ahead and just select yes, and it'll open up the rest of the information there for the second guardian. Second guardian is Jesse Velasquez, and then the phone number is there, Jesse's email, and then the father. And is the parent in the active duties or armed forces. This question is there a parent or guardian who does not live with the student? So if the parent has a second household, you would go ahead and select yes or no. If you select yes, it'll ask you to enter the information, including the second address. Otherwise, if there is not a second home, you would just select no for both of those questions there. Now for emergency contacts, at minimum, we need at least 2 contacts for emergencies. If you needed to add more, you can go ahead and call us later, and then we can assist you with adding additional contacts. But on the application, you can only submit 3, but at minimum, we need 2. So I'm going to go ahead and just enter some information. Trying to come up with these names on the spot. You're going to select the relationship for that emergency contact. So I'm only going to submit two emergency contact. That way I can move through it a little bit faster. We are going to require some medical information. So if a student has any medical information, you'll enter that there. And then you'll need to enter a medical ID number. The student's doctor, student doctor phone number. And then if the student has any medical conditions or if the student takes any medications, you want to answer yes, and you're going to need to specify exactly what those conditions are. Otherwise, you'll select no and can continue through the application. The student is in the 8th grade coming into 9th grade. So what is the student's middle school name? I'm going to go ahead and select Clinton Middle School. That's our the middle school we share our campus with. Then you're answering whether or not the student was expelled. If the student was expelled, we're going to ask you to please specify or is going through an expulsion process. Otherwise, you select no. For students who do receive special education services or have IEPs, you want to make sure that you answer these questions correctly. So does the student currently have an IEP? If the student does, you'll select yes, and we will ask for a copy of the IEP. Considering the circumstance, I know it's a little bit difficult. IEPs are usually large documents. So we are trying to think of other ways to upload these documents or provide these documents to the school. Some of the documents can, or the IEPs can be fairly long. So if you do have a student with an IEP, the assigned person for your student will be getting a hold of you, and we're hoping to work out how we'll get those documents, but we'll get to you and we'll make sure that we do get a copy of the IEPs. Otherwise, if you do have access to upload them, you can do so on Fuji. Does the student receive any special education services? If they do, you'll go ahead and select yes. It's asking you to submit the copy of the packet. Again, if they're receiving special education services, they'll have an IEP. So once you do it once you do it that one time, you don't have to do it again. Or has the student ever received special education services or had an IEP? And then if the student does have a 504 plan, you'll go ahead and select yes. You'll want to submit the parent's highest education level. And now we're going to fill out the home language survey. So what language does your student speak at home? Or I'm sorry, when they first began to talk. So you'll go ahead and select what language that is. What language does your child use most frequently at home? What language do you use most frequently when you speak to the child? And what language is most often spoken by the adults in the home? Has the student ever received any formal English instruction, such as ESL or English language development programs? If they have, you'll select yes. If not, then you'll select no. Then you'll enter your initials, today's date, if you ever do need to come back to the application, you're welcome to save it and then come back to it. I've practiced on even with a mouse to fill out that you can sign on here, but it's a little bit difficult. I've done it myself. So at most, if what you can manage to get through is at least initial. It's a little bit difficult. But if you need to start all over, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you can try to assign, but it's hard. And now, do you want to be contacted by Green Dot Public Schools regarding any public issues that could impact your child? So right now that we're going through the COVID crisis, it's a good. I would go ahead and select yes. The rest of the application will go pretty fast. So it's just questions really that require you to read a little bit more, but then you're just filling in the student's information. So this is our media release form. We do take pictures of students at different times, and we use them as images that we paste or post on our hallways. So if you go through our website, you'll see students who are posted there or on our social media pages. So this is what that media release form is. You can read, I encourage you to read it on your own. And then you'll enter the student's information as the individual, the age of the student, and then you'll want to practice that signature again right here.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
Um, on the thing it says that we have to prove that the student lives with their legal guardians. How do we prove that? Like, what do we upload, or like do we just ignore it or something?
Is that earlier on the application?
Yes, it says please provide documents if you checked Guardian 1, Guardian 2, or caregiver. Like, oh, that's not.
Oh, I see.
Never mind. I just never mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good question, because if you're looking at the options there and you're not the mother or the father, you are a guardian. Let's say you're a grandparent or an aunt. You would need to provide the documentation verifying that you are the legal guardian of the student. So it is a good question. Thanks for asking. Okay. So the media release form, and you'll just enter your information as the parent, your home address information, and then you'll answer the relationship. The next, well, again, it'll go pretty fast. This is the agreement between the school, the student, and the parent. So you'll want to make sure that you read the agreements there before entering the information. So you'll enter the student's name, and then the school staff will be able to sign on their own here once they're verifying the application. The parent will sign, and then the student will also sign. The textbook accountability form. This is just the agreement with how students should treat books. And it goes over a little bit about some of the fees. You enter the student's information, the parent guardian information, home phone, you'll sign and put today's date. The care permission form, this is a California system that holds the student's immunization records. So if you haven't given permission through your doctor to release the student's immunization record, we won't be able to access the student's immunization record. This usually helps us out for us to be able to pull this information in the future, or if you have a hard time getting it, this is a good way for us to be able to pull up the student's immunization record. However, if you're coming from out of state, your student's immunization record won't be on here unless, I believe, it's registered through a doctor here in California. Then the parent will sign, put today's date, enter the student's name, and enter the relevant information in here. They do provide a contact information, so if you do want, if you haven't been able to give that release, you can also go ahead and call them here, or you can email them, and they'll be able to assist you with that release. The next is the proof of birth. If you have it accessible to you, you can upload that. Otherwise, again, the person assigned to your student will be able to assist you with uploading that. Then you want the parent or guardian ID, so that's a license or a passport verifying your information. The proof of residency, so you can upload, it's not required for our school, but you will need, the application does ask you for a bill or something showing your name and address for that you're reporting on the application. This next step takes a little bit of time, but we do ask you to enter all the dates that are showing here for the immunization record. If you have a hard time entering the dates, again, go ahead and just upload the document. We'll be able to see it, and then we'll enter the dates for you. But we do encourage you to enter the dates. And if, as you go through the immunization record, you'll see the shot. You'll want to enter the date. for every one of those shots there and the vaccines. Again, the 2 vaccines that are required for the student to be fully registered are the varicella vaccine and the Tdap, which is the one for whooping cough. It's going to ask you whether or not the vaccine was completed or if there's a medical exemption. And the same for the varicella. If your student's immunization record is showing the MMRV, that's a combination of the MMR and the varicella vaccine. So that one counts for both. And then you want to upload the immunization record if it's multiple pages. Then this is the student use agreement for technology and student websites. You want to make sure you read that thoroughly. You'll agree to the technology agreement or not. Then the student will sign, the parent or guardian will sign, and then if everything is uploaded, you can submit the forms, or you can save and continue for later. And essentially, that's the entire application. And I'm welcome to questions right now. So I don't know if anybody has any immediate questions or if there's anything that you'd like to follow up a little bit later.
So you mentioned that the varicella shot and the MMR are like the same thing?
If it's the MMRV,
RV?
yeah. So some immunization records do show one or the other.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And the deadline is February 26th, correct?
Correct, February 26th.
Eddie, hi, it's Arlene.
Hi, Arlene.
Can you show how easy it is to upload a document with the camera feature in?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So let's say, I'm gonna attempt to upload an immunization record. So if my immunization record is multiple pages, I'm gonna take a picture. You can take a picture of it on your smartphone. If you're filling out the application on your smartphone, just as because I'm doing it on a desktop, it won't show you the same options that it will on your computer. But if you click on upload, it'll give you the option to take a picture of it or then upload it directly from your phone. But from a computer, once you click on upload, it'll take me directly to where I have my documents stored. So if you do have it stored directly on your computer or if it's on your phone, you'll just click on that one specific document. I'll just say it's this one. Once you upload it, it's processing, you can view it. This is going to be our 9th grade dates that we're sharing with you. So if it all looks good, or if you uploaded it from a computer and it's already a 4-page document, you just need to upload it that one time and you'll have all the pages on there like I do here with this flyer. But when you go back to your application, if you needed to change what you uploaded, you would just hit upload again and then select the correct document or image that you want to upload. Otherwise, you can continue by uploading down below. Okay. Are there any other questions? You can put them in the chat too if you don't want to come on off of mute.
Well, I received a text message. Pretty much what the message says that I will have to accept because the student was accepted.
Okay.
So once when you click accept, then you should be able to start uploading the documents and filling out the forms.
Yeah, exactly. So once you hit accept, the next thing that it'll tell you is to register. So once you hit register, you're going to see all these different options, these little green bars that we see here. That'll
Because the
be
thing is,
what you see next. Yeah.
I got the message. I click accept, but I was required to register, create pretty much an account. with a password and user ID.
Okay.
And once that's already done, then you should be able to start uploading, right? Wherever I mean, that you have to upload.
Yeah, exactly. So if you had to create another account or you had to get a new password, you should be able to see your student. Did you have to create another account or?
No, no. The thing is, I saw the student's name,
Okay.
and I was trying to do that yesterday, but I even called the school, and I was told that it was too early to fill out the form,
Right.
with the uploading of the documents.
Hmm. Right. Right.
So once I log back, once I go to the web page and I go back to the account that I created with the user ID and password, I should be able to do it now, right?
Exactly. Yeah. At 5 o'clock, that application went live. So you should be able to log back on and register the student now if you already
Oh,
accepted. Yeah.
that was the question.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, I am here for any additional questions. I'm going to go ahead and jump over back to the slide so that you can see the contact information. Whoops. But if anyone does have any additional questions, again, you can always reach out to us. I'm going to go ahead and enter our phone number in the chat. My name is Eddie Velasquez. If you all have any additional questions, otherwise, I'll hang out if you want to stand by to speak to me a little bit later. But that's all we have for tonight. If you do have any questions regarding beginning the process, again, you can go ahead and just follow the same link, and you can begin the process with entering the application, and we'll follow up with you. Bye, Ivan. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye. I appreciate you coming by. Bye, Dixon. Thank you.
So this number is your direct number where we could contact you?
If you want to reach me directly, I'll enter my phone number right now.
Or is this for the school?
The first number that I entered is the school's number. Yeah, my direct number is the one I just entered.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So for the uploading the documents, you said phone, transfer it to documents, save it to documents, and then through our email, and then we could see it through the uploads when we upload it.
This is if you're filling it out on your phone?
No, I'm doing it on a Chromebook. Is that
Oh, okay. Yeah.
same? That would be the option, right? Because I would have to take a picture through my phone and then transfer it to my email and then upload it to my documents and make sure it's on my documents.
You could
Or
do
just
it that
directly
way,
do it
or but
document.
if you were to take a picture of it on your phone, then you can. It might just be easier to just access the website on your phone and do it directly from your phone to the website instead of emailing it to you and then saving it to the computer.
Okay.
But if you did do that, then because I'm not too familiar with Chromebooks, are you able to save documents on the Chromebook?
Yeah.
Okay, so then yeah, that would be the best option then if you're more familiar with that process. It's just going through that, emailing it to you yourself and then saving it in a Chromebook and uploading it through there.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.